Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd and Ticker Requests Live for Sunday, October 5th. Going to be going over the tickers that you guys request, going over them live, which I'm trying to do every Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, there are a couple tickers that I did want to go over. Do have the ETH chart up here just because I'm really proud of my analysis here. Kind of calling the bottom there. I was put the arrow, a couple days later because I didn't know that it would bounce so abruptly. Yeah, that's some analysis I'm pretty proud of. The video has not gotten too many views. And by the way, I do have links in the description of this video to a number of recent videos that I've done, including AMC, GameStop, let's see, ETH, some cryptos, some other stocks. So if you guys do want some easy access to some of the tickers that I've recently covered, they are in the description of the video. And I also wanted to go over some of the posts that I recently put up on the channel, really just over the past week. I'll just kind of go through them. In chronological order that I posted them. So here is a poll for, GameStop's Power Pack poll. I do that. I try to do one every week around Wednesday. I did this past week on Thursday. And I opened up a silver pack, which led to me now having $100 in my account. And so I put up this poll. I could do a gold pack, or a variety of the other packs. So let me know if you're interested in that. You can cast your vote to see what I open, and so far it looks like the gold pack is most popular, and that is out of 12 votes. So thank you to those of you who did participate in that. And I've got that GameStop video that I shared over there. I'm going to be doing market hours update tomorrow because I'm working after hours and I won't be able to do the after hours update. But I've just been curious to see what time works for you guys. It looks like 1:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern is most popular, but that's only 3 votes. So you can definitely swing this poll if you do want to cast your vote. And I forgot to include the link in the description of the video, but I'll post it in the chat here. Something that I've got to get in the habit of because I do like to have posts up on the channel. Here is one that has not received any votes. I assume it's just because Crypto Corner Stacker is not terribly popular. But I was thinking about doing it live Saturday mornings rather than recording it Saturday morning and then posting it by about 1 p.m. Eastern. And that would then, give you guys access to the chat. So if you want to chat amongst yourselves, you could be sharing ideas with each other. And, because it's like a 2-hour long, very densely packed video or stream, I would not be responding to the chats, unfortunately. I'd say hi, of course, if I see you guys there, but I wouldn't be paying too close attention to the chat. And, although I would if there was a request and, I was given a super chat. So that could be, a fun way to, for you guys to engage as I'm putting out the stream. And if there are some, crypto requests, I could potentially go over them. And then also, I had this idea. I've had this idea for a while, but I feel like it's just a little bit risky in that credit cards are risky. A lot of people, I think, are very, anti-credit cards. And I found, a very interesting way to kind of make some money with them, using credit cards and savings. And so I'd be interested in kind of like editing a video together to do that. Looks like it's gotten 8 votes with the majority yes. The first vote was a no. So I was assuming that I would not be doing this. But maybe over the course of the next week, I'll try to edit together a little story, my explanation, a little lesson that might be of interest. And then All In Podcast, don't know if you guys follow that, but they did talk about Unity software in it about 4 minutes into it, so that's pretty interesting. And then here's Mr. Beast posted this video about 10 years ago, or he uploaded it 10 years ago, and then he responded to it or reacted to it. And that just kind of reminded me that the first video that I put out on YouTube was 10 years ago in March of 2015. So yeah, you can check that out if you're curious to learn a little bit more. And I did open up a Space Cardsmiths pack a week ago. I need to edit it. I meant to do it today, but I just got was unmotivated and or was busy doing other things. But yeah, there's that. I do see some stuff in the chat. John is, I'm going to pull up his chat just because I have the capability to do this. I totally noticed this as well. Plug Power. I was just looking in the overnight. It's over $4. Definitely one that, nobody's perfect. I needed to cut some bags and I lost conviction in Plug Power and I sold it near the bottom. And, and maybe this is, a good thing that I couldn't tell when some things were going to be bottoming. And Plug Power, along with ChargePoint, I decided, I'm just going to cut the losses. My plug position was actually really small, so that wasn't really that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, it ended up being, and I feel like with stocks, like I had sold over here, I kind of stopped covering it over here, but that was a bad decision. But again, it wasn't a huge position. But then as it goes up, it's just like, I've kind of removed myself from it because I made the wrong call, and now there's like emotional baggage with it to some extent. And so I feel like it's kind of tough to be covering plug. But yeah, let's see. I don't know that the overnight trading data is on here because I don't think in TradingView they have overnight trading, or maybe I just have to open it up. If I do like a 15-minute time frame, if that loads, let's see. I just fast forward to right now. Yeah, it just has the after hours trading from Friday, so nothing in the overnight. So what I might do is just pull it up over here in Webull. Got some options data here from AMC, from the AMC video that I put out earlier. Stonks, I do have a couple puts on plug for 50-cent strike that expire in December. They're basically zero. That's the reason why I have it in my stonks list, but I'm not long plug, and I've accepted that my put position was a bad one. But yeah, what we can see overnight here, it's at 416. And if I do switch to, let's just start with the hour first. And we can see that here in the overnight hit a high of 24.24. And, just consolidating up there. Very low volume though. So whenever a stock is trading, whether it's the after hours, overnight, or pre-market, volume is going to be really low. So there could be this pump up here, but then it could be like, not necessarily a rug pull, but it could be returning to, around where the cursor is now, which is around 385, just being approximate there. So I would say bad to have FOMO, bad to chase, good for you guys if you are holding. I think that this looks generally really good, but it could be pulling back to 385 or so once the market opens and then start to go up. And I should note, I'm just going to switch this over to the daily real quick so we can see where it closed at 381. So yeah, I mean, there's effectively this gap here. And with it trading now, the high, I should note, on Friday was 395. So with it, trading above 4, there's this very clear gap to the upside, just like there was, a gap here to the upside that could just be continuing, because I believe this would be a breakaway or a continuation gap. And we could look up the specifics of gaps because I'm not the best at them. As far as the different definitions of them, like this is not a common gap. I think this was a common gap. Actually, no, this was not a gap. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting into the different types of gaps and stuff is not my expertise. I'm rusty on that. But yeah, I mean, if this is gapping up, I could see it coming back to 385, 381, somewhere around there, and then maybe continuing higher. But it could just be doing something like this. So I think it's good to keep an eye on it, not just in the overnight, but also the pre-market leading up to open. But yeah, congrats. Total congrats to those who have been holding this. I have like my doodles down here that, I was right about this one, but wrong about this one, and it just went higher. And so, yeah, we can actually look at some options data, though that might be interesting to check that out because there's not much data in the chart over here. But what we could do, actually, there is something that I could do with this. You know, I had drawn this Fibonacci retracement. We pulled back to, let's see, the 50%. I'm going to delete my doodle because I was wrong about that. But we pulled back to the 50%. That would have been some nice buying opportunities around 229 before the stock price started to go higher again. But with that, what we can do is a Fibonacci extension. So just grabbing the trend-based Fib extension tool over here, going from the approximate low of September 9th or right around there. It looks like 141. Let's see if I got that lined up right. Going up to the high here, which was 316, and then coming down to the approximate lows there. So that represents the measured move from the low to the high here, and then taking that same distance from the low here going up. That is around 394 or $4. So that was tested on Friday. But, you know, maybe it could be continuing up to the 1618, and that looks like it's around $5. So if it is to open above 4 and continue to go higher, I'd expect some resistance around 5, also just being kind of a psychological level. And let's see. But yeah, I'm just trying to see, are these lines correspond with anything over here? So $5 seems to correspond pretty nicely with the high from May 14th of 2024. I think this was the same day that like AMC and GameStop were squeezing. So Plug Power looks like it was a sympathy play or something along the lines there. I imagine just whatever firms or any large short positions that were out there, this started to move up and they had to cover those shorts, buying back shares, and then, price goes higher as a result. But the high on May 14th of 2024 was 490. So I'm just going to put a line going across there. Let's see, 490. Get that lined up just right and lock that in place. So basically, that's where I could see price going to if it continues higher. If it does pull back some, here's another level that stands out to me. This is going to be the high from January 7th of 2025. And that was at a price of 332. That can't be right. I guess that is right. 332. So let's just try to line that up. And I don't know that I like that level. Oh, yeah, I mean, okay, so my justification for that, I don't necessarily think it's going down there, but because it's kind of broken out from this prior high, there could be a retest of that level. So even if, let's see, I'll do the little, this is going to be, here actually, I'll do this as if it were to take multiple days, but I'd be thinking about this just taking place in one day. You know, if it goes up higher and then pulls back to retest that level, as you can see where the cursor is, that lines up, you know, over here, also with the high over here, and this little bit of consolidation. So I would think that if it pulled back to there, that would be some good support. Even though there's a gap down here, people might be looking for that gap to be filled, but then we could get a bounce up to around $5. So that's kind of what I would think. But then I can also, I think I got a plug contract over here. This is the 50-cent put for December, which, you know, it's at most worth 1 cent. So, you know, it's worth $1. I have 2 contracts. It's going to zero. I made the wrong decision, but it's part of the learning process to see, you know, how wrong I've been and that, you know, it's going to zero. I was wrong. But what we can do is expand the net call and put premium over here to see if there's kind of some signal that actually this is over the past 30 days, but let's just go the past 2 days so we can see this big drop in net call premium. So on Thursday, October 2nd, net call premium came down by $4.75 million. That's actually, you know, it's not necessarily bearish, but suggesting that like a bottom is in, or that the selling of calls Sorry, selling of calls. No, I'm thinking selling puts. That would be suggesting that, the upside move has occurred, selling of calls, likely, taking that profit. But then Friday we see it, net call premium go up by 2.89 million. So that's less than what was sold on Thursday. But generally, a lot going on with contracts here. And, anybody who's sold calls here, looks like they're missing out on some potential upside. But then also, let's see, coming back to that, and I'm also just going to hide the chat there just in case I pull up some data. I don't want to obstruct it with the chat there. And so what was I thinking about? Oh, okay, yeah, insider transactions. We can click over here to see if there's anything that stands out. It looks like there were some grants, so I imagine that's not necessarily, grant, award, or other acquisition of securities from the company, such as an option. And so I would imagine that this is not necessarily bullish because they're buying. It's just, part of the business, but it's definitely not bearish. It's not selling. So I think that this is net good, but not a huge deal is what I would imagine. And we can also look at the Greek. So like the max pain, this tends to take a minute to load. But yeah, what we can see here is the max pain for last Friday was 250. What price did plug close at? Let's see, 381. So that's multiple strikes above the max pain. So that is a good look. I think that what plug is probably going through is a gamma squeeze, especially with 250 for October 10th over here. I'm just going to zoom in so you guys can see this a little better. 250 for last Friday and closed at 381. Great look. That's 381, yeah. And then this coming Friday, the 10th, I imagine this will be changing, but 250. So I think this could be gamma squeeze, gamma ramp, but max pain is eventually going to catch up to price, and then that will pull it down. Another way that market makers can end up pushing the price down with options is by adding a lot more strikes, higher strikes. So if you're bullish, you could be buying, the $2.50 call, which is in the money and it's going to print. But then if they add like a $10 strike and you think it's going to go to 10, who knows? Then you buy that, but then price doesn't get to 10. It closes out of the money. It becomes worthless. And then so market makers basically dilute those who could be buying in the money calls. They're buying out of the money calls. Price closes below and then price comes back down. Also, we do have the max pain of $2 for the last few Fridays of the month. Not saying that it's going to come down to $2, but it's, I think that eventually, as the price goes higher, it's going to start to get heavy and it's going to have to start to come back down. But I think that it could still be running. But whenever there is, data like this that looks like a gamma squeeze or something like that is occurring, it tends to look very clear. Oh, max pain for this coming Friday's 250. Price is above 4 right now in the overnight. It's going to keep going higher, but then max pain gets higher up and it actually loses steam by the time Friday comes around. So I think that it could be continuing up higher, but I also think by the end of the week, it could be coming back down to maybe 350. So good to, have a plan because it may not be going up forever. But, I've made bad calls with plug in the past. And generally, what's this look like over here? It's kind of like here's the handle and here's the cup. But yeah, this is, clear level of resistance, broke above with strength for the start of October. And also that is one thing that we could think about, just that the new month started. So if I switch this over to the monthly time frame, we got those levels that I have drawn there. And let's see, crap, I'm not the best at navigating this. But yeah, so September closed above this line here at 181. I'm not sure that that's too significant. But October, it's already started to close above the highs here, but the month's not over. So this could be getting rejected and it closed the month below 332. So that's also something to keep in mind. But generally, the month just started, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Plug looks really exciting. And so I'm just going to pull up, and I'm actually going to note this in my little notebook here so I know which tickers to put in the down below. And maybe, I don't know what you guys think. Do you guys think I should release a clip of that plug analysis? Just do that as a video? Or do you not think that would be useful? Let me know, because I hate editing, but I think that's, potentially some good content. If it gets a lot of views, then maybe I'd do a follow-up, with taking it with a grain of salt, because I've been wrong about plug in the past. But yeah, that was cool. So thanks for the suggestion. I had seen it before starting the stream, so pretty cool. And let's see, I'm just going to check more chat. Everyday enjoyable things in life is saying, hey, Ed, can you go over MicroStrategy? Yeah, most definitely. I can definitely do that. And before I do that, though, John did have a follow-up with the plug, so I'm just going to pull up his chat there. Had 18.8 shares of plug at 220, sold on Friday. Hopefully it pulls back to 3. All I have to say, I don't have a little congratulations GIF. I should have a congratulations GIF. I've got a thank you Pudgy Penguins GIF. I'll put a celebration Pudgy Penguins GIF in for next week. But congrats to John. Taking profits can be really tough, especially when you see it going higher than where you sold at. But, one of the things, like sometimes people in the comments will tell me that I'm wrong or that I'm an idiot or, whatever. And it's like, or that, what's the prediction? I don't understand what your predictions are. Or you say, it goes up, it goes down, you're all over the place. The reality is we never know where stocks are going to go. We don't have crystal balls. We don't know the future. And, the reality is everybody in the market is virtually always wrong, because you're never going to time the top exactly. You're never going to sell the exact top. You're never going to buy the exact bottom. And so whenever you sell, you're like 99.9% of the time when you sell, when you exit a position, you're going to see price go higher, because that's the only way your order gets filled. Like I tried to buy AMC at 280, the lowest 280, my order didn't get filled. And so you can never buy the exact top. You can sell the exact top. You can never buy the exact bottom. And so whenever you sell, price is going to go higher, and you're going to want to FOMO in. You're going to wish, oh man, sit on your hands for at least 3 days, see what happens. I think that's kind of a rule when like there's a breakaway gap around earnings or an earnings gap. I think there's a rule of thumb, wait 3 days, see what happens. So yeah, with this, what's going on see how Max Payne evolves. This could be squeezing up to $5, let's say, like I had kind of suggested, but it could also be back to $3 the week after. And so, yeah, I mean, things don't go up forever. And so congrats to you for taking profits. It's tough to do. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear about that, because, we should be celebrating when people take profits and not giving them a hard time for exiting. They're not Colts, they're stocks. We're trying to make money. So congrats. And with that being said, I will go over everyday enjoyable things in life's comment of MicroStrategy. And so I have some stonks up here that all kind of happen to be crypto related, but I will add strategy up here. MSTR, is it? Yes, strategy. And so I'm going to note that in here. I don't know if you saw Michael Strategy, Michael Saylor of Strategy or MicroStrategy. He shared that Strategy did not buy Bitcoin last week. And a lot of people were saying, Bitcoin went up regardless of Strategy buying. And a lot of bears are saying, well, Strategy is the only reason why it's going up. That's not the case. But looking at Strategy here, I just seeing this is the 50-day simple moving average, that blue line there, having closed on Friday, October 3rd, at a price of $351.63. The 50-day simple moving average is at $352.78, so a little over $1 above where we closed at, got a wick above, and didn't close higher. Volume is not really that exceptional. So I could see there being a little bit of a pullback, but I don't necessarily think, I mean, like my sentiment with crypto right now is that, I mean, like Ethereum, which I started this stream on, you know, big upside move. It's above the 50-day SMA, around 4,500, looking really good. Bitcoin has moved up a bunch, again, well above the 50 SMA. And, you know, it's trading around 124,000. So just looking really, really nice. But maybe there's going to be a need for a little bit of a cool off. And I think for Bitcoin, I was thinking, which I go over in Crypto Corner Stat Stacker. Bitcoin's the first one that I go over, so it's kind of easy to find. I also have timestamps in those, so you can check out my weekly analysis in those videos I go over on Saturdays. But I had talked about, and I think I don't have a dip buy placed, but I have like my support level for Bitcoin at 118 if this does roll over, and that would be corresponding with, let's see, where's the high for this? It actually broke higher than that. So that would have been the 382. But if I adjust that, that would actually be breaking below the 382. And maybe it'd be coming down to this red uptrend that I have there. So that would be around like 119, maybe 120. I don't think that'd be a bad thing. You know, big move here, pull back, test this as support. That's kind of like, you know, what, you know, Ethereum did with the highs over here, pulled back, test that as support, and then bounced. So with all of that being said, I wouldn't be too surprised if MicroStrategy did pull back a little bit, but I could see it as just like, you know, a bull flag or, you know, kind of a shallow dip, because I think that crypto is going to be going a lot higher. And so I'm just doing this Fibonacci retracement. I'm actually going to add the 236 to this, which I like to have as purple. And so, yeah, I mean, I could see this coming down to, I mean, the 382 is around 333, maybe, you know, $333.33 is a fun number. And, you know, that could be a nice, let's see, what kind of a percentage pullback is that from where price is currently at? And if I said, yeah, oh, currently at, we're not looking at crypto right now, we're looking at a stock. So the close on Friday, coming down to the 382 represents about a 5% dip. And so I could see that happening. We also have some gaps over here, like on September 30th, closed at $322.21. So there is a gap there that, let's see, 322. I'm just going to do it over here because I can remember that number. 322.21. So there's a gap there. There's also another gap down here, which is at, you know, the closing price from September 26th at 309.06. So those are some potential levels that could be, you know, pulling back to. There's also, you know, a gap right here. The closing price on October 1st was $338.41. So, you know, I'm talking about three gaps here. I say, let's fill the first gap. It could come down to around 333.33 cents. Fun number, have fun with it. And then it could bounce. So like I could see it do something, you know, like this. And that's a bull flag. And then it breaks out, retests wherever the 50-day SMA is. And then it goes to new highs. And so this would be like what it could be doing over the course of the month of October. And one thing that I'm sure everybody's probably getting tired of hearing at this point is Uptober or Pumptober. It's not going to go up in a straight line. The reality is the net for Bitcoin, for, you know, whatever, is that over the course of the month, price is going to go higher, but it's not going to go in a straight line. So if there was this 5% pullback in strategy, I think that would be a nice dip buying opportunity before this does go higher. And based on what I've doodled here, that would represent, 5% drawdown here, but then overall, my doodle may be completely incorrect, but that's about 12.5% to the upside. Coming up to here, that's about 8% to the upside. So yeah, I mean, I think that this is looking like it needs to have a little bit more volume to be breaking out above that level. Like over here, got up to it, but then got rejected. Yeah, and we can look at, let's see, I'm going to look at the flow over here, reset this, and let's just look up MicroStrategy. And I'm just going to pull up whatever contract. It's a put here, but I just want to look at the premium data over here. I don't know why I like my default. Oh, 2 days. Okay, yeah. But let's see. 1 day, net call premium down by $12.5 million, nearly 12.5. Net put premium up by $5.32 million. Over the past 7 days, we did see some net call premium go up over $45 million. But we also saw some net call premium come down by about $35 million. So, yeah, it seems like it's, kind of volatile. That I would expect a little bit of consolidation before continuation, but I'd also really just be keeping an eye on Bitcoin. What's that doing? Bitcoin hit an all-time high, over here. I was going to bed last night and I said, oh, wow, Bitcoin's at 125. I feel like there's got to be some posts on X about that. And sure enough, there were. And it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. That's a new all-time high. But, that happened over the weekend. So maybe it gets people to go long over the weekend. And then we get a little bit of a rug into the week, pull back to 120, worst case scenario, or 119, maybe 118. And then it goes up to 130. And then I think, strategy would be as well. But yeah, it does look, just looking at the daily there, it pulled right in to that 50-day SMA. But this could just be a little bit of consolidation before it breaks higher. Maybe some people, they're always nefarious actors. And sometimes, they're good actors. They have good intentions. Not necessarily that they're bad people or something. But, maybe it's like, the guy calls them up on the phone and says, hey, I haven't bought yet. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll hold it here below the 50 SMA and that'll result in some selling and then you can buy the dip because we closed the week below the 50 SMA. It's like, okay, good, thank you, I'll buy when it dips. And then when it does dip, then the guy says, I bought, pump it, and then goes up. So just something to think about there. And yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. And I do see Marvin G saying, Hycroft, happy to throw it up here. And I will also note it in my notepad so I know to add it to the list, HYMC. And so over here, HYMC. And okay, so, I was a little bit aggressive with this, pullback here. And so that's wrong. But yeah, well above that 50 SMA, this is consolidating. Let's see. Are there signs that this could be topping and pulling back to that 50 SMA, or is this going higher? So what we see is higher highs here. I talked about this before. This is actually the lower highs, then this goes to higher highs. But this is lower highs in the RSI, if you can see that there. Oh, and I'm going to just remove the chat so it's not obstructing the data there. But yeah, we have lower highs in the RSI, and we can actually just extend that all the way over here, whereas up here, we did see a higher high, and so that would be bearish divergence. It has pulled back some, and now we're seeing lower highs that there's confluence with the lower highs in the RSI, so no divergence there, which would be bearish divergence, but there's not. We do see, let's see, higher lows being formed, and I can just do a quick little line here just to illustrate that. And I could even be a little bit more aggressive with that slope because we didn't get any closes below it. But yeah, that's higher lows. What we're seeing in the RSI is lower lows to like kind of flat. So that could be suggesting that there's some weak bullish divergence or that might be weak hidden bullish divergence, because bullish divergence would be when the stock price is coming down and the lower lows. But the RSI is putting in higher lows. It's getting more strength as the price is coming down, so it could be taken off. But that 50 SMA, a little precarious there, that is at a price of 484. So could be seeing a pullback to that. Did close on Friday, I should mention, at 624. And yeah, I think it'll be good to look at some options data. I do kind of, just out of curiosity, want to look at the weekly as well as the monthly. Maybe there's something in there that stands out. So, I mean, as this has been going higher, a good amount of volume here, good amount of volume over here. But as price has been up here, volume's been coming down some. That could be consolidation. It could also be that it's getting a little exhausted. But yeah, these are weekly candles. So let's see. We did have so 2 weeks ago, we had a bearish engulfing candle. After the week prior was a hanging man candle. So that looks kind of not so good. Big wick to the upside here. So again, not so good. It does look like, the highest close over here was actually this close for the week, which was at, well, let's see, making sure that's right, 646, and the close over here was 624. So yeah, but this could be, bullish consolidation. Let's look at the monthly. We just finished September. And so, yeah, we had this big green candle, no wick to the upside. That was for August. Then we see, and that was up about 40% for the month, 39.57%. And then for August, a bigger candle, but actually the percentage was smaller, 36.26%. The reason why is, here you're going from a smaller number to a slightly bigger number. And so that smaller range in the candle is a bigger percentage relative to the starting point. Here it's a bigger number, so you might have a bigger candle, but percentage-wise it's smaller. So that should make sense. But yeah, what we see here is volume going up really nice into this candle. But then, that big wick, the month of September hit a high of 718, and we weren't able to, hold above that. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, on a monthly basis, what I think would be good to see is really just kind of like October to be like a consolidation month. And one thing that I find kind of interesting about this related to like gold and Bitcoin is that like gold has been hitting new all-time highs. And whereas, I mean, Bitcoin did, just less than 24 hours ago. But it hasn't been on a rampage like gold. And so I suspect a lot of that gold money will be rotating into Bitcoin. And so I wonder how a company like Hycroft might be suffering from that. So maybe while it's October for Bitcoin and crypto, maybe it's like a consolidation or pullback month for gold, stuff like that. However, Hycroft is got a lot of silver deposits as far as I understand. And I don't think silver has really taken off as much as gold. And so that one's kind of like the cork held underwater that could be popping. So there could be a continuation to the upside, or, if October is a consolidation month, I still think that Hycroft looks really good. And, maybe like the consolidations over here, like, for the month, having this close here, that's around $14. $10 is going to be a psychological level. There's some consolidation here. Actually, yeah, that's interesting. I was just noticing that these overlapping candles here, that's right around where price is. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised if it did consolidate here. I mean, over here, it spent 4 months in this range. And so that's going from lows of around 550 up to highs as high as $11, but really I just say, $8. So from 550 to 8, maybe we spend a couple months there, and then it would start to go higher after that. But yeah, I'll just come back to the daily, throw up those drawings. I just got to fast forward to where we're at now. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this is looking bad or anything. I think that it could be pulling back to like maybe 5 or something, but a good way to get an idea of that, I've got the MSTR data here. I'm just going to search Hycroft, the flow HYMC. My fingers aren't working right. And just pull up whatever contract, not looking at them specifically. I'm going to change this to 1 day. It's a little overwhelming when it's like that. But yeah, I'm just going to expand this so we can see the 1 day over here. And this looks like it was a good amount of selling, it seems like. That's net call premium in green coming down. And that looks like, though, this is the thing that you got to consider with smaller stocks. You see this big, that's a big drop in that premium, but it's only down by $55,000. So that's not a lot. Let's go back the past 3 days just to see. Nothing too crazy with the premiums. And then let's go back just the past 30 days. We did see some call selling over here on September 26th, and that was $400,000 of calls being sold. So again, it's like close to $500,000, but it's not, millions of dollars. Over here, we saw net call premium go up by $688,000. That was bullish. And then following that, we saw price go higher. Maybe this was some selling of those calls. Possibly. That could be. But they still have some on the table. This is not enough premium for those. I imagine. It could be if there's some devaluation of that premium. But yeah, this isn't necessarily telling me that it's going to be breaking out to new highs. It doesn't necessarily tell me it's going to be retracing to that 50 SMA, but there is some data there to consider. And so, yeah, I would not be surprised at all if it was kind of a boring month, just get people antsy and whatnot. But yeah, it could be breaking out to $8 or so. So congrats for holding. It looks really, really good. And then I will move on to the next one. This is one that Palantir. I have painful stories with Palantir because I was very bullish on it for a really long time, and then I lost conviction, was trying to consolidate my portfolio, and I should have just held. I would have made a lot of money with that. And then I had, I think, a couple shares when it was sub 100, and I thought it was going to get rejected at 100. I was wrong. And Anon, I see your comment as well. I'll pull that up. I'm just going to first go over Palantir here, and let's see. So to do that, I'll just search it here. I don't need to add it to a watch list necessarily. PLTR. And okay, yeah. So, and actually, I think I saw something about Palantir. I don't know. Yeah, pretty big red move there on Friday, coming down 7.47%. Closing the week at $173.07. This makes me want to cry because, yeah, I think I had maybe bought some. I think, yeah, what I did, because I'm an idiot, I bought, I think, just one share at $69 on this dip. There's probably some Fibonacci retracement, or I was thinking, double bottom here. Over here. So the low on January 13th was 63. Maybe we put in a higher low. I'll just place an order here at $69, and that would have been filled. The low is 66.12. But then as it was getting up towards 100 here, I sold, I guess, probably around here, around that moving average. And have I regretted it ever since? No, I'm happy for those who hold it. And the reality is, they're always going to be the ones that got away. And this is one thing that this did teach me, though, is, I have a lot of conviction in Tesla, and I'm still holding a very small position, but I have some shares of Tesla, and I'm not selling those. So, yeah, because I don't want to see it go without me. But yeah, quick thing we can do here. Sorry for my little ramble there. But let's just go from the low from August 20th. That was 142.34. So I'm approximately there. And then if we go up to the highs from, it looks like Thursday, hit a high of 188.20. We do have the 382 that was effectively tested on Friday, corresponding with that moving average, which is around 168.94. I could see this pulling back to the 50%. I mean, I could also see this rolling over and falling off a cliff, but let's assume that's not going to happen. I could see this coming down to the 50%. There are a couple reasons for that. One is, we just saw this one red candle. It's chasing a falling knife potentially. So, give it 3 days, see what happens. Maybe it starts to give signs that it's putting in a bottom. Maybe it doesn't, and maybe you just see another big red candle and it blows past that 50%. And then maybe on Tuesday you see another red candle as well. Who knows? I mean, just like over here, it wasn't just one red candle. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before this is a pretty nice bottoming signal. I think going below that 50 SMA, but then closing below with that beautiful wick to the downside, that would have been a really nice dip buying opportunity with a low of 142.34. Yeah, I had just said that number because that's what I did the retracement on. But yeah, I think that, there could be a sweep of the 50%, the 50-day simple moving average coming down to like 165. And then if it closes above, that could be, like same type of thing over here where that was a dip buying opportunity. So that is a possibility. But again, it could be a falling knife. And it could keep coming down. The 618's around 160. And yeah, I mean, I guess a thing that's a little bit concerning about this is how high volume is for that downside move. But yeah, generally, and let's also look at this kind of bigger picture. Maybe this is like a double top with the second attempt to get to that high. The RSI was lower, although, what we're seeing here, it's kind of, I hold the shift. So yeah, it was definitely a little bit lower high. And then if we look at the RSI, also a lower high. So there's no bearish divergence there. Yeah, I mean, and another thing that we can do, Fibonacci extension, let's assume that this like 142 was the low. And so up here, pulling back down to that, this would give us a move from here to here, the same distance, but going from the bottom here. And where would that be suggesting price would be going? 266. Yeah, and I mean, you talk about, you listen to people like Mike Alfred talk about, companies like Cypher, what's the other one that BKKT, I believe, backed, and also Iron. It's all about AI infrastructure and energy and all of that. And Palantir is a part of that. And it seems like these bullish moves are probably going to be continuing. So, I mean, even if this does spend some more time, let's doodle this out. So maybe, it's like this, and that's kind of how I have that retracement, but maybe, it goes up to here as it has, and then maybe it pulls back down here. Maybe it sweeps those lows, and then, maybe it does something like this, and then it goes up to there. And so, yeah, I mean, that would be a totally valid, bull flag. It just might take, until, a couple more weeks of downside, and then there's a dip buying opportunity there around 142 or lower. Here I have it drawn to 132. But yeah, I mean, this could also be breaking up higher. And maybe that consolidation's already happened. But I think that these things tend to take longer than we expect. The market makers want us to get bored, sell our bags when we sweep the lows here, thinking, oh, well, it's breaking down. And then we get a rip your face off rally to 266 for the Santa Claus rally or something. So that's a possibility. But yeah, I mean, if one is up a lot in this, I mean, you do you, but there's no harm in taking profits. Like John was saying, he just took some profits on Plug, and, maybe it goes higher. And so, like what I did, I completely exited my Palantir position. But, if I had, tons of shares, maybe now or, last week would have been a good time, maybe even now as well, who knows, to trim a little bit so then could buy back more comfortably down here, or just be prepared for the possibility that it could be coming back down to 142. But I suspect whether it's the end of 2025 or into 2026, I think that Palantir could be getting into the 200s, 266, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, this is one that it's like, I'm not going to doubt it because I didn't have enough conviction in it. I think I doubted my analysis. I like it so much. I want it to go higher, but maybe it doesn't. I'm getting emotional. I'll walk away, so. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. A little bit of my perspective there. And hopefully that wasn't blocking some of the RSI stuff that I was talking about, that chat there. I'm just going to pull up Anand's request here. And then Bruce, what's up? I do see your request for Tilray, so I will pull that up in a minute. I'm just going to see what Anand's saying. Check NBIS. It's too high for me right now, but where would you buy it? Let's take a look. And also, I think it's kind of like a good mindset to have. Let's say something is going really high. Ask yourself, do I have to hold it? Do I have to buy it? And some of them, it could just be, no, you don't. And then, you can just move on. But yeah, NBIS, I'm just going to see what's the news mines here. What's the stuff? This is news. I think I want to, okay, yeah, the profile here. We can see that the market cap is 32 billion. So yeah, that's not a super small company. And I believe this is software. I think this is AI or something like that. I could pull up the profile, but website, there's some stuff behind us. I'm reading it. It's behind me, but it says Nebius Group NV is a technology company that provides infrastructure and services to AI builders worldwide. It offers, I'm not going to get into all of that. But yeah, I mean, this is like an AI play, and it's based in the U.S. as far as I understand, with the NV being Nevada, and that Nevada. That's kind of I don't say that state too often. Nevada. I want to say like NVIDIA, like NVIDIA. But yeah, let's see. So I feel like this is getting exhausted. The reason why I think this is getting exhausted is because price is going up, but volume's going down. And so and you can see the volume, but you can't see the RSI. So I might just hide the chat there. And so, yeah, where could I see this getting buying? So, I mean, number one, there's this really big gap here and I'm just going to throw up a few levels and see maybe there's some confluence of them. I don't think it's going down this low, but I'm just going to throw it up there. Or, it could go down this low, but I'm not necessarily going to suggest that it does. And so this is, a gap. What was that close? It was at 64.06. So I'll just do that over here, 64. 06 right there. And, so that's something. It could be coming down to that gap. Also, just below it, there's this other gap here, and that close on August 6th was at 55.09. So again, I'm just going to do it like this. There's that. And make sure both those are locked. Yeah. So those are two levels that it could be coming back to, but also I think it's like you look at the chart and it's like, well, those are those gaps. I'm not going to buy it until it pulls back to those gaps. Something that I think could happen before it gets to even filling this gap is, there's this consolidation here that could potentially be acting as some support. So just being, approximate here around 75.50, that does correspond with this consolidation that could, absorb any dips lower. And also, this big volume on the gap up there. There were a lot of buyers pushing it up higher here. So, people were buying it up into this gap. And so I think that there could be a lot of support around 75.50. Where might I draw a fib retracement to? And maybe I also want to look at this on the log scale. I don't know if that's more helpful or not, but let's say the top is in. It's probably not. It might go a little bit higher, but it might ultimately be topping very soon. And so let's just assume that the top is in. I'm going to do a fib retracement from the lows over here. That's going back to February of 2022 and then going up to the highs here. And we can see a 50% retracement. Looks like it's around 73.26. Again, being approximate because we don't know that the top is actually in. And though that is interesting, it does seem to correspond pretty nicely with the like 75.50 approximate level that I was talking about here, for the reason of, this consolidation here. So that green line, I don't know how well you can see it, but the levels here. So 75.50 to 73, somewhere around there, could be some support. And we also do have the 50-day simple moving average at 79.16. So right there, that could also be catching it as support, and that could perhaps correspond with, as price is still higher than that moving average. I'm just going to move the retracement for a little bit. Price is still above this, and so above the moving average, so that's going to still be going higher, but maybe that moving average moves up to the lows over here. And then that potentially acts as support corresponding with the 382 retracement at around $87. But really, I'd say it could be coming down to 75. And, maybe it doesn't. Maybe doing 76.90. So there's a 69 in there to have a little bit of fun. Or 76.90, and then the other could be 74.20. Have some fun. Then you get an average around 75. But yeah, with price closing on Friday at like 127.98, I think that there could be, let's actually look at that measurement from the approximate close coming down to the moving average is a 38% drawdown, coming back to that 50% retracement is a 43% a reduction in price there. So, yeah, I'd wait for around 75. So hopefully that's helpful. I can look at options data real quick, but I don't want to spend too much time on them just because I'll spend all of my time doing that. NBIS. So just looking at whatever chart here or whatever contract, just so I can look at the net call and put premium. Net call premium up over 29 million on Friday. So it could still be going, but this also, maybe it was Friday, so maybe those were contracts that were expiring. Yeah, let's just look back the past 30 days, over here. Yeah, so what happened over here on, let's see, September 9th, net call premium went up by $21.5 million. The stock price in yellow also ripped some faces off there, went up vertical basically. But then after all this call premium up here, $21.52 million, we just saw some consolidation. Price went up a little bit, but not so much. And so we see this massive spike in call volume or a net call premium going up by 29.26 million. There could be a pullback following that, or, not a ton of exciting price action, but maybe it does then just continue a gradual trend higher. And then there's another launch in that call premium. So yeah, I don't know exactly. It's tough to say, but I feel like pulling back to the high 70s feasible. Max pain for last Friday was 110. Clearly it closed above that, so that's suggesting that this is a gamma ramp or gamma squeeze going on. And then for this coming Friday, it's 105. Then the Friday after, it's 85. Then the Friday after, it's 95. So, if it does keep the momentum, it could just be like gamma ramping up. So this could just be continual. because these max pains are so much lower. If max pains, I mean, they will change every day, but if those max pains start to catch up to where price is, then it could kind of act as like a magnet, start to pull it down to 85. That's not too far from 75. So some things to consider there. And we can also look at insider transactions, sells. So my thoughts would be that, wait for 75 or upper 70s before, I'd be patient, I personally. And if this was one that I wanted to trade, I would ask myself, do I have to? And the answer is always no. And so, if it just keeps going, then it's like, okay, I'm going to forget about it. I'll come back to it later. And let's see. I see some more chat. So I got Bruce is up next, but also Benjamin. What's up? How's it going? Requesting TECX, so I'll definitely look at that. Guy, how's it going? $200 call options. So I'm not sure what that is for. $200 call options, but I imagine for NBIS, unless you're talking about Palantir. And then Anon it's European, Amsterdam, Netherlands. Oh, is that for? So I've got the chart up there, so I'll just pull up his chat there. European, Amsterdam, and Netherlands is NBIS. So, very cool. Yeah, I just saw the NV, so I was thinking Nevada. But yeah, I'll pull up. Let's see, Bruce is next. So I'll do Tilray. A person that I would encourage you follow if you're into. And also, I'm going to put this in the chat. Just the posts. Vote in the polls. Make sure you like the video and vote in the polls that are on there. I did go over them before, but yeah, there's the link to it. And let's see. I wanted to pull up Chart Guys. Oh, spelling Chart Guys wrong. What's NLW? Nathan Whitmore. AI doesn't mean the end of directors. It means the best ones get absolutely wild. That's one of the things that I think is pretty cool about AI, because it's like, it's not about replacing, it's about more tools for people to be able to use. So yeah, that's pretty cool. This is from Colin, Crypto Twitter. Why is it going down? Yeah. Yeah, let's not be too greedy about stuff going up. So yeah, I'll like both of those. And let's just pull up Chart Guys though, just so you guys can see. He goes over MSOS. And so this is the information at Chart Guys on X. He also has, I believe, like a educational program. I'm not sure how much it costs, but that's something that might be of interest. But he does post a lot of good videos. He's also a guest, I believe, on. It's either Wednesdays or Thursdays, a guest on the Wolf of All Streets podcast, so Scott Melker. And let's see, he's got to have some stuff here on MSOS and Qubits, Rigetti. Those are, Lithium Americas, MSOS. Yeah. So, MSOS check-in 4-hour equilibrium watch. So, sorry, I bumped the mic. I'm not, going to dive into all of that. Oh, Tilray chart. This is from October 2nd. So Tilray straight up very overbought. On no news into resistance means sell some to me. This was October 2nd, so that would have been on Thursday. And so we can look at the chart after that. This is the 4-hour time frame. And so, yeah, what we can see is, volume behind this move up into resistance that was around like 191 apparently. And then it started to pull back with a little bit higher volume. And so this is like, upside, but then consolidation. But at the same time, it did pull back and consolidation. It does look like it's found support above that red line, which is an EMA. I'm not sure what that is, what moving average that is exactly, what it's based on. And because he's got a couple of them over here. doesn't say. But he did follow up on that post. And then so he's saying hourly, actually I need to read this. So hourly super stack means at extreme overbought levels on the hourly 15-minute, 5-minute, 2-minute altogether. These are all shorter time frame. So, do consider that. But yeah, this did move up to, around 191, and then it's just been selling off. So, he's suggesting this is not looking so great for Tilray. Also could put it into perspective with MSOS. So I would definitely encourage, follow him. He has some great stuff if you're interested in the cannabis sector. But yeah, let's pull up Tilray over here because this is one that I had held. I had made some videos on a while ago, but then I could pull up a chart in Webull, and I think like I got out probably over here or something. I'm not sure. So I missed out on some further downside, and ended up put it in the rearview mirror, and it starts to break out over here, and it's just like, I missed it. I'm not following it. Happy for those who hold it. But yeah, also like for me, I just really don't like stuff that's in like I'd say it's sub $3 range, because there's always concern about a reverse split. I mean, this is listed on the NASDAQ, so it needs to hold the price above $1. But yeah, this is on the daily. What we can see here is, he was talking about stuff all on the shorter time frame. And so with that being said, if we're looking at this on the daily, it's going to be a different picture. And so what this looks like to me is, big volume on the upside move here, a little bit of consolidation here with lower volume. So that does make me think that, sellers aren't pushing this any lower, so it's kind of found a floor, you could say, right around like 161 or 160. We don't need the pennies. And so, yeah, you could see that pretty clearly there, I hope. But yeah, let's do a little Fibonacci retracement. So from like the approximate lows over here, and then just capturing like that wick high from over here. The 382 is around exactly 160 how I drew it. So that's the blue line there. So that looks pretty good. But yeah, I could see it coming down to like 151 or 150, and then maybe that would be, for the next leg up. Yeah, because we could look at the, what happened here. Big move with a lot of volume behind it, and that volume dies down as it consolidates, and then volume steps back in and it goes up. And so from over here, I'm just going to do the retracement from over here up to that high. Where did it pull back to? The 382 didn't get quite to the 50%. And so, yeah, maybe it is approaching some support on this pullback. So, I wouldn't be too surprised if it pulls back to 150. And also we can see the highs over here. What are they at? Right around 150. So that makes me think that there's some, it might be pulling back to 150. And so that could be a really nice dip buying opportunity. I don't follow it close enough to really have an idea of, is this going to be coming back to the 50 SMA? That's around 111. I think that it'd probably find support at 150 would be my guess. And also, thinking about this, you can talk about this in different ways, but like we see the fib retracement to the 382. You see that, you think it's going to do it again. And it's like, okay, it's at the 382 now, then I'm going to buy because that was a good time to buy over here. But then sweep the lows, fakes you out, shakes you out, and comes down to 150. It's like, dang it came back to the 50% over here. That didn't happen before. So I think it's like, it's not always going to repeat the exact same way. So, maybe this comes back to 150. And I think that's fairly compelling, retesting that as support. Also, oh my gosh, I'm just going to drag this over to here. Look at that. There was some resistance over here, resistance again. Now let's flip that resistance to support. And oh my gosh, I'm just going to move this over here. What do we have now? I'll see if you can, you could probably tell. Yeah, we got the little left shoulder here, big head here, little shoulder here. And so that's an inverse head and shoulders pattern, a break above. And then what we could see from that is, let's see, I'm just going to do a little trend line. So just going from like the lows of the head here to that armpit, and then take that same move from that neckline. This could be going up to like 270, 269, let's say. So I think the chart's looking really good. 150. To be honest, I'm kind of intrigued by this. And I'm going to note Tilray in my notepad. But yeah, I'm intrigued by the head and shoulders, the retracement to 150. I like that a lot. I don't have a position, don't necessarily plan on opening a position, but I'm kind of curious to look at the options data. I'm sure there's not going to be any good options data because it's like 160 or whatever it is. Tilray. So let's just pull up options data. Probably pretty boring, probably not that exciting. But yeah, I'm just going to expand this and we can look at the 30-day. So, wow, this is maybe kind of exciting. This is actually millions of dollars for such a cheap stock. Net call premium, $3.42 million. I'm excited about Tilray. I'll give you the justification for why. I'm just going to zoom in here to the past 7 days so we can see this big move up. So, call buying, it looks like green volume there. Net call premium's going up to 3.42, or you could think of it as 3.420. And following that, what did price do? Price kind of consolidated or, came down some. So that makes me think it's probably going higher because $3.42 million are saying they think it's going higher. And maybe we could actually look back at the data from this. Let's look back at the data from September 29th when we saw that call premium. We could actually look at the contracts from that. So I'm going to switch this over to the 1 day, and then I'm just going to go up here to the calendar, and I'm going to go to the 29th. And so we can see, that all that money going in. And so what we can see with this, the way that we can like pinpoint the contracts that might be, interesting to look at is when we see these jumps in that green there and that net call premium, that means there's a big buy, because it goes up. There's a big order, net call premium goes up, or a big sell, net call premium goes down. And so here we can see that net call premium prior to this move was like 1.2 million, and then it jumped up to 1.6 million. So that's actually not that big, but we see this big spike over here with net call premium at 2.59 million, and then it goes up to 3.5. So it's about $1 million right there. So that time on the 29th was at 3:09 p.m. So what we want to do is go back to the flow over here. Got Tilray searched up here, and I'm just going to search premium. Let's start with $100,000 minimum. And so we don't see too much here, but on the 29th, we see some data there. Maybe I can actually zoom in so hopefully you guys can see this a little better. And sorry if the chat's blocking it, so I might actually hide Bruce's comment there just in case I'm talking about some data and it hides it. Ed might hide stuff, but I tend to remember that he blocks this part of the screen. But yeah, so $100,000 premium minimum there. September 29th here, we can see all those contracts. And, maybe I could actually zoom in. Oops. Zooming in on the chat. I want to zoom in on this. And so, nope, the premium is hidden. So I'm going to have to do it like this. We can see the premium here. And so what we see is, this is like 357. We see these are all the same contracts, so it doesn't matter. The time that I was looking at, though, for Tilray, this big spike, that was at like 309. So looking at the flow over here, what do I see at 309, 310, which is 1510? We see net call premium of 265,000, 188,000. And then right before close, a few minutes before close, it looks like a bid side, so that's potentially bearish. We can see that that's potentially bearish because it says it over here if I zoom out. But let's zoom back in. That's because it's on the bid side. That suggests that it's selling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's selling. And that is $617,000. It's possible that this was a day trade, a swing. And so in order to get an idea on that, we can actually look at this specific contract, the January 16th, 2026 $1 call. And we're going to have to go back in time to look at that to September 29th. We see, hey, there's some funny business going on over here. And I might actually zoom out. So we're at 100%. And then I'm going to scroll down here. So on the 29th, maybe I'll zoom in actually for this so we can see this table a little bit clearer. Hopefully this is good. Ooh, it's a little too good. Hopefully this is good for you guys. This is historic volume and open interest. So this is what we want to look at. So on the 29th, we had an open interest of 60,000 contracts with a volume of 37.5 thousand. So hopefully you guys can see that. From that day, the 29th, we saw an increase in open interest of 18,000. And that then put the open interest to 78.5 thousand. But the very next day, with that volume of about 31,000 contracts on the 30th, we then see what looks like a dump of those 18,000 contracts. So that's interesting because we went from about 60,000 to now about 60,000. So that big spike that we saw, it didn't really lead to a spike in open interest. So I'm not as interested now after looking at that as I was before. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to get the 100% there. And what I might want to do is just look at the 3 days following this. So I'm actually going to want to look up 2 days after because we saw some drops in the calls. Yeah, so I'm actually going to want to go to September 30th. I'm going to want to do this on the 1 day. So we're just looking at September 30th here. And this actually, it looks a little bit wonkier than I was hoping. So maybe I'll pull it up on the full screen and just go to September 30th here. So now it doesn't look as wonky. We got this big drop in that net call premium. And so maybe this was selling that $1 call and rotating it into something else. And so also, we have earnings coming up on the 9th. I'm just seeing that here, so good to consider that. But this was at 118 on the 30th. See a drop in call premium. So let's look at the flow data over here. So on the 30th, what time was that? I got the worst memory. I say things, but I don't listen to myself as I speak. 118 in the afternoon. So what do we see here? Around 118, 119. We see some January calls looking like they're getting sold. But then shortly after, 158, it looks like there's some buying of that. And so I wonder if that would be corresponding with this. The person's dumping this and then buying back. Super, super weird. And so this is, that contract that we were just looking at. And so let's look back the past, really, the 2 days here, and I'm just going to rewind this to September 30th. So we have September 30th here and September 29th here. So we see all this, net call premium moving up and down. But yeah, generally, we ended up seeing, that net selling. So I was hoping it was a different contract. But we're not seeing that. So yeah, this is a little bit indecisive. This is 100 This is maybe something interesting. Halloween expiration. This is a $2 call. And what we see with this one, this is a little more interesting. It's not millions of dollars, but it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, Ed's probably blocking that a little bit, so excuse him. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit more. So this one right above his head, that was September 29th. We did see, open interest of 2,000, and the volume exceeded the open interest. It was over 5,300 volume, which led to that open interest increasing from 2,000 by 2,600 to, in total, open interest 4,700. And now we see, man, I have to say, I like this. I like this contract because, it's like on the 29th, open interest was 2,000. Then open interest goes to 4,700. Then open interest goes to 13.6 thousand. Then open interest goes to like 18,000. Then 18,400. Open interest is pretty spicy for this one. Yeah, I like it. I like this. And we can see, let's look at the call premium. What do I have? All this data here. I don't want to rewind. That's this specific contract. I already know what it is. I think I just want to look at, the data up here. And yeah, that's the third. Let's go back 7 days. And so, yeah, look at this. Prices going up. This calls. Net buying of this. So $2, and that's a pretty cheap, so premium over here, when I was first talking about it, it's behind Ed, excuse me, right here, that's when open interest was 2,000. The low in premium was 7 cents. The high was 37 cents. The high from Friday, the 3rd, was 23 cents. So that looks, they're still buying. So, this is going to be one that's good to follow up on tomorrow. And maybe I'll want to do a quick little video, maybe with some clips of this. And, maybe I could take some clips from this, put them in after I just talk about the net call premium for this contract. So this one looks really interesting. And so I'm going to add this to the TRL watch list, and I'll check on that tomorrow. But yeah, this looks really good. Let's check on some other things. So I'm, going down a super big rabbit hole with Tilray. Insider transactions. What do we see? Taxes, exercise. This is not, actively buying or anything like that, or selling. If they're selling for taxes, they needed to, at the end of July there. Let's look at the Greeks. What do we see in Max Payne? We could see that Max Payne is, 150, and the stock price is, I talked about 150. So yeah, I think that this could be pulling back to retest 150 and then launching up to 2 by the end of the month. That call, I don't know. That stuff can be risky. Contracts can be risky, especially with less than a month between now and expiration. So I would really only look for that contract as, maybe a little bit of a gamble. Buy one of them for $20 or something, $30, whatever it is, knowing that could completely go to zero. But shares, I think 150, that looks really appealing. So I'm excited about that. And so thank you for the request, Bruce. I am most excited about this one. As far as all of the ones that I've gone over, this, because everything else, it's not as crystal clear. This looks like a crystal clear bullish pattern. Contracts, a little bit, wishy-washy, but that $2 strike call for October 31st, that's been getting accumulated. And so that if that's still accumulated in tomorrow, I think that this is probably going to retest 150, and then, I could do just a measured move. Let's just do a quick measured move, and then I'll move on to the next one, or a Fibonacci extension. So from the low here to the high here, pulling back to 150. Maybe I already did this, but that would be suggesting a price of like 242. And there's also like 215 over here. The highs could be some resistance. So yeah, I think this could be going from 150 to $2. between now and the end of the month. So very, very cool. I like it a lot. And so, like I got Anand's chat there, and then also Benjamin's request here. What do I think about TECX? So let's see. And actually, one thing that I should probably do, overnight trading on Tilray. I don't know if it has it. I'm just going to go over to the TRL list. TLRY, Tilray. Is there? No, there's no overnight trading, so I'm not being an idiot talking about stuff when price is doing something crazy overnight. But yeah, let's look at TECX, Tectonic Therapeutics. This is one that I've gone over before. And let's just zoom in there. Kind of crazy. I doodled this stuff out before. I can't remember exactly when I doodled this out. But yeah, I mean, this looks like it's not necessarily following what I was doing. It's kind of going on the lower side. But yeah, I mean, it's not like the low over here. Just making sure I have that line right. 1370, so that is correct. And that is not locked into place, but I got to lock it into place so I know that it's to the penny there. Yeah, so that, I mean, what could be happening? Ooh, this is what I think is good about this. This is what I think is good. So what we see is this increased volume. That kind of makes me think that this is being accumulated here. You know, price drops and there's a lot of volume, but it doesn't really go down much lower. So this could be some accumulation there, but maybe I'm misinterpreting that. Maybe I'm understanding that incorrectly. So yeah, I mean, I just keep an eye out for the low of 1370. Don't really want to be going lower than that. But if it does go lower, you'd want to see a sweep of the lows and then a bounce back up higher. And then that would be suggesting that that's the bottom, and then it could potentially be rallying. But yeah, the 50-day SMA is around 1991. So that's probably going to be acting as some resistance. We can look over at the options data here to see if there's some tells in what's going on over here. And so I just want to be looking at this data here, net call and put premium. Wow. 90% bearish in the bear bull slider. Usually that thing's not really that useful, but the thing that you have to factor in is the amount of money. And so for Friday, October 3rd, net call premium down 4.56 thousand, net put premium down by 500. So yeah, that's definitely, it seems more bearish, but it's only, $4.5 thousand. So it's not a lot of money. Let's just go back the past 30 days, see if anything stands out. Prices come down. Net call premium went up here by about 30,000. Still, it's not that much. Yeah, so I mean, what this might be doing is it might just be kind of boring for a while, is what I would think. If we look at insider transactions, we see some grants. And so let's just see what is the grant, award, or other acquisition of securities from the company, such as an option. So people are getting issued stuff, the chief financial officer, the chief scientific officer, the chief executive officer, and the chief medical officer. So I think those are, good things, but it's not people actively buying. It's like if my company is giving me shares, or the company that I work for is giving me shares, I'm going to take them because it's free money. Why not? So yeah, I mean, this is just kind of like normal business in my opinion. If we look at the Greeks, max pain is around 1750. Then it goes up to 20 in January with the price around 1524. That next max pain is for the monthly in October. Trading below it. So really, I think like if price starts to go up towards 1750 and start to close above 1750, then I think it could have the momentum in the right direction. But right now, it doesn't look like too much is happening other than potentially being accumulated. Because yeah, price is going up here, but volume's low. Price drops, volume's more elevated. Yeah, and then one thing I think might be interesting to look at is looking at this on the log scale. Nothing really too much with that. And this looks better on the log scale than on the linear. Wait a second. This is... Wait a second. This is logarithmic. Let's see. Yeah, it's the log scale. On the log scale, it looks like, yeah, it's putting in, double bottom here and then higher lows. The linear scale doesn't look as exciting, but yeah, I think it might just be being accumulated here. So that's kind of what I would think. And yeah, I did have this box drawn. It could be consolidating here for, basically the end of the year. So I wouldn't be too surprised by that. These things can bore us, and that's how they get us. But I think that this is like in the lower portion of the range, aside from a potential sweep of the lows, spring, and then that would be more to the right over here. I think that this is starting to be accumulated, though. So I think it's time is the enemy right now. Price, I don't think it's going much lower. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And let's see. And then Anon is saying, bought NIVF. I'm just going to make sure that I have I'm just going to make sure I have this noted down so I know which ones to add into the tickers. And what do you guys think? Should I, and I might actually pull something. I don't know if I could do a poll in the chat. I don't know how to do a poll in the chat, if I can even do that. Sorry, a little distraction here. But yeah, maybe I can. Can I do a poll? Yep, I can do a poll. Should I release a clips? Should I release clips of... I would think Hycroft, maybe I think plug HYMC and or Tilray is probably the one that I would do tomorrow. And so then I'll post that, start poll. You guys can vote in that. Something new that I've never done. Should I release clips of plug Hycroft and or Tilray tomorrow? You guys vote. Let me know what you think so far. I've got a vote of yes, and I would probably just do Tilray because I've got work tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to try to do the market hours update and try to run some errands, be productive. So I'll see what I can do. But yeah, the poll is there. And so NIVF, I'm going to note that here so I don't forget it. NIVF. And so what I might actually do after the stream, I might clip the Tilray stuff that I went over and then put that at the end of just an introduction of saying, hey, there's been a lot of buying of these $2 calls. So that might be cool for Tilray. I like that. But yeah, NIVF. NIVF. Let's see. This is New Geniv Group. Okay, so this one, I don't like the chart. Look at all these splits. This was a 1 for 5 splits. That's not crazy. A 1 for 10. Over here, 1 for 20. And so what was the price of this 2 years ago? Maybe I've covered this before. Because, yeah, less than 2 years ago, like 1 year ago, less than 1 year ago, price was $3,000. So what I would say about this is that they have been reverse splitting to oblivion, and they're just sucking value out of this. And this is just going to continue to bleed and take money away. Rule of thumb from Quodwo, I believe, that if you go back 2 years and stock price is over $1,000 and they've been doing reverse splits, they're just splitting it to oblivion. And, market capitalization is $4 million. So yeah, I mean, you could potentially get a squeeze of something like this. But this is not the kind of stuff that I play, and I would strongly discourage participating in this, because maybe it does something like this, but maybe it just bleeds. So yeah, $4 million market cap could potentially be doing something like this, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just continues to bleed. Because like following that move, like so from if you bought before that move and didn't sell up here, because it's like a split second type of thing, you got to do it that day. Price has come down 80% in the value. And then let's see what kind of percentage move was this squeeze over here. That was up 260%. So let's say from here we go up 260%. Right there. That doesn't even get back to the lows before the move here. So this just seems like it could be a total trap to suck you in, dilute the value out with these reverse splits, and it ends up being like whatever that car company is, that electric vehicle company that is just always diluting, and it's total scam. So yeah, I think that this is probably very bad. But if I were to look at this, lots of volume here, move up above that 50-day SMA, rejected. Not a good look. Here, it's at that 50 SMA, so all it really needs is some volume. And here, it went up 26%. I don't even know how to analyze this, because it's like it could just be fading for so long. And one thing that I guess we could do is, what was the time frame between this spike and the spike over here? That was 41 bars or 61 calendar days. And so if we do the same type of thing, 41 bars forward, that would be like to right around here. We didn't see a squeeze or anything. So yeah, I would, to be honest, I'm not even going to include this ticker in the description of the video, because I think it's just risky. So I would avoid. Let's see. The next one got Ricardo in there. Ricardo with a K. And hey, hello, what's up? Finally caught you live. Hey, welcome. Yeah, make sure you vote in the poll. I put a poll up in the chat, and I don't know, I'm like kind of new to having this thing here. So actually I can't really see the poll that well in my view. So I'm not even going to entertain trying to show it to you guys, because I'll just fumble it. But yeah, Ricardo's saying, remember Gevo? I do remember Gevo. What do I think? What could happen? So yeah, I'll pull up Gevo, and let's see. I do remember getting those requests. Gevo Inc., NASDAQ. So this looks like it's looking pretty good. I'd say generally over here, I don't know when I was getting the request for it. I imagine a while ago, because earlier in this year, I kind of stopped doing the streams. I guess I was streaming a lot in 2024. Is that right? That's when I was able to monetize the channel and stuff. Because I was just trying to, crank out as much content, stream. And, so in 2024, this was like going lower and lower and lower, and then it just took off. Let's see. From this went up 400%, so very nice there. And this was like, get that out of the picture, over here, it was a, lost the 50 simple moving average, and then over here got above, retested, and then launched. Just nothing but green over there. Pulled back below the 50 SMA, put in lower highs here, and with that also lower highs in the RSI, which it can't see because the chat's in the way. So I'm just going to hide that for a little bit. And we can see lower highs there. So there's no bearish divergence, but we did have lower volume here relative to over here. Maybe that's suggesting some weakness, that this could be rolling over. And it did roll over, breaking back below that 50 SMA, attempting to reclaim it. And now, yeah, I mean, I think that this is looking pretty good. In all honesty, big gap up, so maybe there's a little bit of concern there, but it does seem like it has some nice consolidation here acting as support. So I think that's a good look. And also, I mean, let's see. I'm not going to draw it up, but maybe there's like a, little inverse left shoulder, head, inverse head here, inverse right shoulder, gap above. Testing that as support. So I think this is looking really good. This could be a bull flag right here. And so we could do a little fib extension from the lows being approximate to the highs here. And then the lows again being approximate. That could be suggesting 100% move. So the distance from here to here is about 261 price target. We also have about $3, that being a whole dollar number. So psychological in that sense. Also, if we do look over here, that seems to correspond with the highs there, right around $3. So I could see this going to 3, and also I could do another fib extension from the lows here to the highs, and then a pullback. And I imagine that target would be around $3. So let's look at that one. Yeah, price target $3 from this low up to there. And this is kind of like, I'm just going to doodle it out, so it'll be a little bit rough, but this is kind of like a nice little cup and handle right there. And so that could be moving up to 3. So this looks like it's going up to 3. Earnings coming up. It looks like on what is that date? Maybe that's approximate, but it looks like November 4th. Somewhere around there. Approximately November 5th is what they're saying. Yeah, it's got the little approximate symbol there. So, yep, I could see this going up. I had mentioned little head and shoulders there. Let's, hold that thought. What do we have potentially over here? Maybe a left shoulder, a head down to here. And then over here, maybe we have kind of, maybe that's a little bit of an ugly head and shoulder, or maybe, it's going to go like that, and it hasn't even begun to form the left shoulder yet. So maybe it could be something like that, or maybe that right shoulder pulls back to where it's at now. That's going to be some consolidation, some support. Maybe that would also be corresponding with the 50-day SMA as well. So I could see this going up to 3, and then I could see it pulling back after, coming down to around 220 or so. So yeah, very cool chart, very, very neat to see. So congrats if you're still holding it. Seems like it's on its way up, looking good. Higher lows, too, generally. And let's just I'll just do a trend line. So, yeah, higher lows. So, yeah, looking good. And I'll continue to check up on the chat. Let's see. Ricardo's got another chat there. I'm afraid I have to agree with you. It was similar to Xwell/XSpa got burned on that spa company. I'm not going to pull those up because I think it's a little, the stream's been going on for an hour and 43 minutes, it looks like. So yeah, I'll probably be winding it down soon. So I'm not going to pull up a ton more charts, but I will include Gevo in the thumbnail. So maybe that gets some more interest. And yeah, so like with all this stuff, it's like some of the stuff we get burned out, like Palantir. I lost money on Palantir. If I would have just held it, I would have made a ton of money. But you got to move forward. You got to learn from those lessons. And I feel like for me, I'm kind of applying that to like AMC right now, and that it doesn't necessarily look like it's going super bullish or anything right now, but it looks like it's starting to break out from, putting in higher lows and stuff, the video that I went over. So I think it's starting to flip bullish, but that doesn't mean it's going to moon tomorrow or anything. You've got to be patient with this stuff. And let's see, and Ricardo's saying, yes, should have sold around 220 and rebought. You were right on that prediction. If that's what I just went over with this, that would probably be kind of corresponding with the high over here. I forget exactly what I said. I kind of go into autopilot with this stuff, with these streams, because it's, or even just videos in general. This is like, this is me being me, but like, I don't necessarily talk this long for this. I get into like a mode and I like autopilot. And so I don't always remember exactly what I say. So it's good this stuff's recorded, hold me accountable. And Ricardo's just saying, yes, do not pull up XBot. It was junk. Glad to not pull it up. And then how about RKT? I don't know that one, so I'll just type it up here. Rocket, is this like the mortgage companies and stuff? I'm just going to scroll down here. I can read this, but you guys can't see it because it's behind me. It says Rocket Costs Incorporated engages in the provision of a suite of services related to homeownership and other personal financial transactions. It operates through the following segments: direct-to-consumer and partner network. I'm not going to read any more, but this does seem like it's, it meets the mood or whatever, of people just having such a hard time buying housing and stuff, and maybe there would be some assistance to that. Although what we see, this doesn't look so good to me because following this pullback and break below the 50-day SMA, we have a lot of volume following that break. So this could be like a falling knife type of scenario. And so what I would do with this is I just do a Fibonacci retracement from the low here. It looks like January of 2025, and then up to the highs of around 2260, the highs from September. And it looks like it's pulled back to the 382. And so what I would, if this is like, do I have to be in this or not? If I want to be in this, do I want to enter at like $18, 1780 where it's at now? No, because I don't have to be in it. But if I had to be in it, where would I want to enter? I'd want to enter around the 50%. That's around 1630. And that green line here also kind of corresponds with the highs here. So there is some confluence that could be acting as some notable support. And so I'll just put an approximate line going across from those like consolidation highs around 16. So I'd say 16 plus or minus 30 cents. That is where I would say this is potentially getting back to support, and that it could be bottoming around there. Could go lower to the 618. That's around 1482 or $15. That would also, you can see the highs over here corresponding with that right where the cursor is. So it's like, we start to get into support with that prior resistance around 16, but then we really get into some meaty support around 15. So I'd say 16 plus or minus 30 is the beginning of that support. Maybe that's the bottom. But if it goes lower, I would think 15 would probably be acting as a lot of support. And this goes down to like 1482, that 618. So maybe like 15 plus or minus 20 cents, something like that. And if it really does go lower, I'd think that 13 or right around 1270 acting as support here, the consolidation in that bottom there. And I mean, generally, this has put in higher lows over here. So I think that's, and actually, could we extend this back to over here? That'd be getting a little tight. But yeah, so I think that this looks like it's going to be pulling back some more. But if this is something that one has to be in, or like, I mean, like if I had a position in this, it's like, well, I probably wouldn't sell here if I was at a loss or something. Or, I don't know. You'd have to evaluate that yourself, however you want to manage your risk. Everybody's different. All of our emotions are different. But, if I was holding this, it's like I wouldn't want to add until like to get my average down. Or, maybe I had bought here and it's like, okay, I think it's pulling back. I'm not going to sell here because I think it's going to find some support around 16 to 15. And that is where I'd want to buy. Maybe I then have a stop loss around, or maybe I'd have a stop alert around 13 and then I reevaluate there. So hopefully that is helpful. And so Ricardo's saying, waiting to average down. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. And so with that being said, I don't know if there's many more requests to come, but I've been streaming for an hour and 50 minutes. And I do have work tomorrow, but in the afternoon, and I want to make sure I have time to do the market hour stream and release a video with clips from this stream on Tilray, because I think that's going to be really cool. I'm excited about it. And so what I might do, make sure if you're in the chat, if you're watching this live now, participate in the poll. I believe it looks like the result is 100% yes, but I could be wrong about that. And let's see. I'm just closing this thing. I'm not too familiar with looking at the chat or something to see that poll. But anyways, yeah, I'm just fumbling around here. And so, I opened up the chat full screen. Did not want to do that. So sorry, just moving this over. That's actually, I've got it all the way up and down for my view that I can see. That's actually kind of a nice. But yeah, what I am going to do is, throw this up here. As always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below or in the chat. It's been super fun getting requests from you guys. Looking forward to that Tilray video tomorrow with the clips from this stream. And make sure that you set the notification bell as I do post some posts on the channel, some screenshots, and videos always come out at random times. And so, and Ricardo said yes on the poll. Not yet in any of those stocks. I'll probably just, as far as time management goes, I might just do it on Tilray because that's the one that I really like, that has the clearest signal to me. So I'm excited about that. And that's one, I was interested in going over Snapchat and Archer, but I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go over those on my own little spare time, but I'm going to have to add to the TRL list over here, Tilray, because that just looks like a pullback to 150 and then going higher. And so that could be, leading to like a 30% move if it goes from 150 to $2 by the end of the month. So that's a really good return. So I'll have that video out, like I said. Tomorrow, maybe in the pre-market, I'll try to edit this, stream the clips on Tilray, and have that out in the morning. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the market hours update. And I could actually pull up where that poll is suggesting. So I'll probably be doing that at 1:30 to 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'm going to limit it to 30 minutes, just going over some of the ones that stand out to me. Like I'll probably follow up on Tilray and maybe then go over Snap and Archer because those are interesting to me. So I'll Archer, ACHR, and Snap. So I'm just noting them here that I'd like to go over them. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. And let's see. I'm not pulling up the chat, but because I got it in the Chrome here. And Daniel's saying thanks. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining. Hopefully, what I went over was helpful. And Ricardo is saying after the live stream, I will watch your TLRY. Is it a buy? I think at 150, but I'll go over the updated options data at the beginning of that video. That will come out in the morning before open. And so I'll go over that and just say, look, whatever I think about it, I went over this last night in the stream, so here's the clip, and then I'll let it go. And so, yeah, I'd encourage checking that out. From what I went over in the stream, that will be in that video, but it will begin with some updated information. But yeah, I am going to get to editing that and then head to bed so I can have that out in the morning. But yeah, super fun. Thank you guys so much for doing this, and I'll see you tomorrow. It looks like at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for the market hours stream. I'll be on X during the day, yeah, I need to start working on editing the card video that I recorded like a week ago from GameStop. But yeah, you can only do so much. Thank you all so much for joining. Hopefully the rest of your Sunday night is great. Monday is a great start to the week, and we start to see some stocks, cryptos,